There's no escaping inflation. When the government prints money out of thin air, there is no escaping it. There is absolutely no escaping it. Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I remember telling you all that food prices have gone up 31% in the last year, or since this time last year, but I never really showed you a source. And this is just one of the many articles that you can find if you Google it or DuckDuckGo it as I do, that will show you that food prices have not only gone up 31% in the last year, however, they are expected to continue to go up for the next 2 years, if not longer. Grocery prices skyrocket 31% as lockdowns, drought, and money printing unleash food inflation. Food prices in July were up 31% from the same month in 2020, according to the United Nations Food and Agricultural Organization. This rise is fueled by supply chain disruption and extreme weather conditions, and money printing, ladies and gentlemen. Remember that. Money printing is just a way of them to steal your wealth, your labor, your freedom. Central banks disregard food and fuel inflation when setting policies, as they are the most volatile categories in the typical basket of consumer goods and services. No, they don't, ladies and gentlemen. In my opinion, the reason why central banks disregard food and fuel or energy inflation is because they know that those are the things that get hit first by inflation. Right? Whenever they increase the money supply, the things that get hit first and the hardest are those things that we need to live. And we need fuel and we need food in order to live. A professor of finance and economics at Columbia Business School noted that central banks are underestimating the change to take more drastic measures that they themselves are predicting. They're definitely underestimating it, ladies and gentlemen, on purpose or not. Prices for chicken and other proteins have been inflated in the U.S. due to labor shortages at processing plants. Strong demand from at-home cooks is a factor, but restaurant chains are competing in chicken wars. At the same time, the supply has been constrained as farmers scramble to rebuild their flocks, many of which were decimated by winter storms in February. Middle-class families in the U.S. are not going hungry as food prices rise, but millions of individuals are. Before this health crisis, about 35 million Americans were already considered food insecure or lack consistent access to enough food for all the members of the household. Amidst a huge spike in joblessness brought about by this health crisis, the number jumped to 45 million, ladies and gentlemen. 45 million. That's like 1 in 8 or 1 in 7 Americans going hungry, or more than 13% of the population. Now, analysts are predicting that price increases may continue for the next 2 years. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been saying this for a long time. Prices are not going to go down. And this inflation, as stated by the Fed chair, Mr. Powell, is not transitory. It is going to continue to go up, and then it's going to level down. All right, it's going to level off, and then it's going to continue to go up again. Ladies and gentlemen, these people don't go shopping for groceries. These people don't drive their own cars. They have chauffeurs. These people probably don't even wipe their own behinds. We are not in the club, ladies and gentlemen. Realize this. We are not in the club. They could care less. In the decade before this health crisis, year-over-year price increases have been around 1% for food at home, meaning that July's 2.6% increase is more than double of what people are accustomed to. In many cases, these price increases are probably overdue. Here you go. Now they're going to try to justify why the price increases are overdue. Ladies and gentlemen, with the price increases that we're having at the grocery stores, farmers aren't making any more money. Ranchers aren't making any more money. It's these processing plants and distributors that are bringing home all the wealth. But let's go ahead and read on. Agricultural commodity prices have been on the rise in the past year due to the conditions surrounding the growing season and the buying trends. For example, China is buying raw commodities such as soy to be used as animal feed. Pork and chicken prices are also on the rise as raising animals continue to become more expensive. And I would contest that the reason that raising animals is becoming so much more expensive is because we're exporting so much more feed or food to other countries. The raw price of producing crops and animals on the farm is only a fraction of the total cost consumers pay. But energy, transportation, and labor costs also factor in. All of those aspects have seen rise in costs. Gasoline prices have risen 41.8%, ladies and gentlemen, since July 2020. But the CPI, as per the Federal Reserve, the Consumer Price Index, is only 5.4. Imagine that, ladies and gentlemen. Now do you know why they don't include energy and food in the Consumer Price Index? It's not because it's too volatile. It's because it's what gets hit the hardest. And it's what hurts most people in the middle class and the lower class, or the poor. Labor costs also play a role. Wages have been increasing in both food processing and retail, adding to the end cost for consumers. It's probably the case that if we want the kind of labor that we've come to expect in the food service sector and food processing, the employees are probably going to have to pay a little more. Or the employers are probably going to have to pay a little more. Well, the more that the employers pay, ladies and gentlemen, is fine and dandy, but the more that you and I will pay, and the more that that employee who's getting a raise will pay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there's no escaping inflation. When the government prints money out of thin air, there is no escaping it. There is absolutely no escaping it. You can get a raise to $50 an hour. You want to get paid $50 an hour? To flip burgers or to put french fries in a fryer, that's fine and dandy. But when you do, your burger is going to be costing you a lot more. Your food at the supermarket is going to be costing you a lot more. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's like a snowball. The more it rolls down the hill, the bigger it gets. We cannot hide from inflation. Consumers on a tight budget are now considering spending more time shopping around and looking through weekly ads to compare prices. Drugstores, for instance, have milk typically priced cheaper than supermarkets. More and more consumers are also switching to less expensive products to keep food budgets on track. I stated this in the past, that when things start to get bad, you're going to be reduced down to less choices and less quality at either the same or higher prices. Grocery delivery services are now being avoided as customers have to pay additional delivery charges, fees, and tips. Oftentimes, items are also priced higher in grocery delivery services than on physical shelves in the store. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think this article says it all. It says it all, but you do have to read between the lines in a few areas. If you're not prepping by now, and if you weren't prepping before this video and you just happen to come across it and you're not considering prepping after hearing this, then ladies and gentlemen, you're going to have to face the consequences of the decisions that you make. Food is only going to continue to go up in price. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's just a fact. There is no escaping it, and there's nothing that we can do to stop it, because the government / Federal Reserve, which is one entity in my opinion, they're going to continue to spend. Why? Because they have absolutely no way to get out of the corner that they put themselves in. They have to continue to print. This tapering stuff that Jerome Powell is talking about in the last FOMC meeting, I think is bull butter. All right, this tapering stuff, they cannot stop printing. Period. They cannot stop printing. Our government cannot stop borrowing. Because when they do, the system will fall. And if the system falls because they stop, it's because they wanted the system to fall. Because they already have a new system in place. So protect yourselves, ladies and gentlemen, in every single way. If you're new to this channel, welcome and thank you for being here. I have plenty of videos that show you how to prep on the cheap, all the way to prepping if you have the means to prep in other ways as well. So welcome to the Alaska Prepper community. It's a great community with great people in it. Having said that, thank you very much for joining in. Remember to be good to each other. When good people do good things happen. Remember to reach one, teach one, and repeat. If we all did this, the world would be a better place, and you know that it will be a better place. Many blessings to all of you and your families. I'm Alaska Prepper. I'm out.